Hi there guys. So in this video, I wanted to show you guys how you can get started building the new era of themes, basically the block themes, and then all the basics and fundamentals you would need to create a block theme at this moment, right? So let's talk about the current state of WordPress themes first, because I think that it is not very streamlined right now, and the theme marketplace is very messy, because you'll see that there are many types of themes right now, because there's not only just block and classic themes. There's a hybrid and the universal themes as well, because if you were to take a look at some of the classic themes, they also have support for the new block editor. But then what it is, because it's sorta half classic templates and the block part of it as well. So it's not fully a block theme, but it is not a fully classic theme as well. So to bridge that gap, let's talk about that and then the different types of themes available right now. So let's take a look at this course I found on WordPress.org. So this describes all the different types of themes available right now, because this was really something that I wanted to talk to you about. I will link this down in the video description so that you can check it out yourself. So you know that classic themes, the era of the customizer way of doing everything in a WordPress theme. And then there came the new block themes. For initially, it started with only the content area, because the blocks were only available there. And then the new themes that came afterwards, sorry, not afterwards, but when the block editor first evolved, because the block editor was limited to content area, the themes that came for that were also half customizer baked and then half block baked. So the content you would generate via blocks, and then most of the site parts was still controlled via the classic templates, aka the customizer way, right? So this was this is when the first hybrid theming started. And then you'll see that here in the optional classic themes section, this optional tab where it shows you the two different kinds of classic themes, that is the hybrid themes and the universal themes. So what is a hybrid theme? A theme that contains a mix of both classic theme elements and the block theme elements. Like I said, the block elements for content and then the classic templates for customizer stuff. Then there was the universal themes that work basically, that have everything in the classic template way as well, along with the newer standards that is now available, the fully JSON way of theming your theme, and then nothing is in the classic templates. But yeah, both can work alongside. So this is the universal thing, but I don't think there are many of these. But I think there was one time when people thought of doing this, but I don't think this is a mostly used workflow, and I would definitely not recommend doing this. Very messy. And even the hybrid themes, I will not at all recommend making a hybrid theme, because whether if you want to make a classic theme, you can do so right now as well, because I think classic editor will be continued to support it throughout a few more years, and then that's enough for your theme to grow and serve a specific niche you want. So even if you were to take a look at the classic editor plugin right now, earlier it was supposed to go down by the end of 2022, I think, but then it was continued again. There was this notice that classic editor is an official WordPress plugin and will be fully supported and maintained until 2024, or as long as is necessary. And I think this is only gonna get I think prolonged further, because 5 million plus active installation, it's not an easy thing. And yeah, so not to mention the sites that are not using the classic editor plugin but have classic editor templates only to use Elementor or some other builder for content part, or even block editor for content part. So there's that. So I don't recommend making classic themes right now, but I'm just saying you can do so even now and it won't be a thing. But I will definitely recommend making the newer and the latest version of block themes, which are the theme.json way of creating the block themes, and then the HTML markup that it brings in the templates and then template parts. Yeah. Because earlier, a few months back, I was also hesitant into switching into this workflow because it felt very messy, to be honest, because I was used to the standard ways of just doing it in the PHP. Everything is PHP and I know where everything is. But then now it was very confusing. What styles need to go in a style sheet, what styles need to go in the JSON file. It wasn't very well documented earlier, and there was a lot of things that were going on. But if you were to take a look now, it is very well documented, I think, at this moment, and then it's only gonna get progressive after this. So there's that. I think after 2022, the WordPress Block Theme development has evolved a lot. The 2022 theme was already a good theme to start with, but then 2023 came and then it progressed upon the development that was there on 2022 theme. So I think with this much of WordPress and then block theme state knowledge, we can start on to how you can create the basic block theme, right? So for this example, I'm going to use a plugin called Create Block Theme because it is a plugin developed by the WordPress team itself. You can just click on Add New and then search for that Create Block Theme and then install and activate it. So I have it installed and activated. We'll go to Appearance and then Create Block Theme. Now in here, you will just need to select Create Blank Theme, or you can also create a clone of 2023 or whatever theme you have active. Just choose a FSE theme because that's what we are going to create in this video. You can name it anything, and name is the only required input here, I think. Yeah. So let's call it Hello WP because why not? And maybe select a few tags. I'm just gonna select that and hit generate. And that's it. It just generated our theme, and it must have already activated it. I think yeah, it didn't activate it, but you can activate it. It gave it the any demo sample it had for the screenshot. So yeah, you can customize all of that. I'm gonna switch to my code editor right now, and let's take a look at the theme folder it outputted. So let's take a look at the familiar stuff we are used to. That is the style theme header, actually, style.css. And that has everything you would see in a WordPress theme. The whole theme name and the URI and all the versioning thing, right? So this is where the classic theme and then block theme separates, because all the things that were mostly required in a WordPress theme to go in the style sheet are now extracted into the theme.json. And then we'll look into theme.json. Let's take a look right now as well. All this schema and the markup is well documented in here. Let me just show you. If we were to go to, let's go to WordPress Theme Developer Handbook. And when we go to block themes, I think, block themes and then theme.json, we'll see most of the stuff you will need to start well documented here. We'll go through each of this in a bit. So first, let's take a look at our markup and everything that is output in the blank theme, right? So this is the theme.json. We'll take a look at this in a bit. So now we have style.js, which only has the theme header and then the screenshot PNG, which is also standard. And then the readme.txt, which if you would have posted any themes on the WordPress.org repository, you would know that this is as it is. Nothing changes in here. Everything stays as is, readme.txt. And so now what is a big change in here is that you won't need the index.php anymore. Not even the functions.php you will need anymore. You can just get started with the index.html in the templates, because that is one important file you will need in the templates directory, index.html, and you can leave it blank. Even then it will work. So there's that. And then all this markup you can leave it empty. It just don't need to be created manually or written manually here like you used to do it in PHP or the templates, because this is created via the block editor. If you were to go into the editor now, you'll see that these templates have this markup which it generated the create block theme. But we can get rid of this completely and then generate everything manually as well, because all these are just blocks and then you generate everything. Everything is a separate block. You generate everything and then you can simply go here and select code editor. You can copy all the parts, all the code for that template and then paste that in there. Create another template maybe for all the templates here. Or even better yet, that when you have created all the templates, such as you can add a new template, a single page, on archive, all these templates you want to have in your theme. And once you have those templates, such as let's create one, for example, a singular page, which works for any single post or page. So let's go to that. And then we see that in here, it just basically copied everything from the index template, I think. So we can remove this query part completely because we don't need query in the single template. And then we'll add, I think this editor is still not very intuitive in terms of adding blocks in between the gaps, such as I have this header and footer, and to add a block I would really need to look into this area where I can click. But you have this inspector list view where you can easily click on any block, and in this hamburger menu you can select insert before and easily add a block. So there's that was a very helpful thing I noticed, and then that helped me reduce a lot of stress while building these themes or creating templates, because I'm a coder by nature and I am not used to building themes or templates in the UI editor. So it was very new to me, and when I started it felt like rubbish and I quickly ran off from it. But then once I came back to it and I saw a few things here and there in the editor, I explored it. I realized that it can be workable, such as via this, and it can get better. And then I try to understand the basic blocks such as groups, columns, and then rows, because those are the building blocks. I realize that it is doable enough right now as well. So you'll basically start with the group block, and then you will select that, and then you have your content width size and then wide width sizes. Think of them as your theme respective max widths you have set on your site. So you used to create those in the style sheets earlier, and then use the customizer to control the max widths and then the site widths for content and the layout. Imagine that controlled via the theme.json, right? So that is available here. It is already set to use the content width for the inner blocks. Now we can simply add here this post title, and now we'll say again, you can click on the block and then say insert before and say post date if you want to have that. And then after the post title, you can insert after and then use post content again. And let's do the standard way, which is to also have the featured image. So post featured image, and that's about it. You just hit save, and there's that. If you were to take a look at our site now, you'll see that if I were to open that, you'll see that this opens like this, because we just created this is the template, right? And this works very good, I think. Now if you were to copy all of this, you can just go to the code editor and then just copy everything and create a new template here. Say single.html and hit save. That will do that as well. Now, if you were to exit code editor, if you were to go to our all templates, you'll see that this is a customized template. But even if you were to remove this, you'll see that it's already there because we have saved it in a separate template in our theme source. So if you were to save it in the editor, it will save it in the database, and it might not be available once you switch themes. So, or switch sites basically. So yeah, you do need to remember that. And you can always export the whole theme like this, clicking on the hamburger menu of the whole editor and then selecting export. It will export everything, including the theme.json. It will basically give you an installable theme zip. So there's that. Let's now go back. We just saw how you can create templates. There's also template parts, by the way. So you can create 3 regions, by the way. Right now, there are only 3 regions that are supported. Let's take a look. What are these regions? Template and template parts. Let's go do that. All right. So as I was talking about these template parts, there are only 3 regions right now registered in this editor. That is the header area, and then the footer area, and there's the third region that is an unrecognized or general template that is called, but it is still used as uncategorized slug in the source. All right, so if you were to create any template part, we can name it anything, and then maybe just say demo part, and then hit create. But for most of other parts, you will basically use block patterns and then use them anywhere you'd like. For template parts, I think sidebar and a header footer is the only required parts, or you may get advanced and then add any more and as many parts as you would like. So there's that. You can again add these parts directly so these will need to be registered in the theme.json. So we'll take a look at all of that, how that works, right? So this is all about templates and template parts. You can easily create and manage them, make a change in the header, and then copy everything like we did for code editor via the code editor, and then go to header HTML and update. Yeah, like that. So now the most important part of your block theme, that is the theme.json file, because that's the most important file you will need to understand. Imagine everything that you used to have in the style sheet, all the controls you would need to put, the styles for every element, or the font sizes you used to set up, or the layout sizes, everything. Now it is being controlled via the theme.json. So everything is extracted into the theme.json. And the things that are not available in theme.json, maybe that you can add still now in a style sheet and include that. But I think that is only a few things and are only gonna get added in the near future. So if you are adding, make sure that you only use as lesser CSS as you can, because once there's that update which brings that feature as well in theme.json, you will need to remove that, because that will now conflict with the theme.json's respective code. So let's take a look at theme.json. Let's begin with the first part of this JSON schema. So the first parameter is the schema itself. Now that is, as you can see, is being loaded via the developing.org site, and I think it is available per major release of a WordPress or point release. So this is 6.2 theme.json, and it's available via this link. And let's take a look at theme.json here, and you'll see that the most important required parameter is to add a pair of curly brackets and then the version key, right? So version key is being outputted here. Let's bring that above. So the order doesn't matter. You can place anything anywhere, but just so that you know, the most important parts of this whole JSON file are the settings and then the styles, key. So yeah, and remember that at the end of your JSON schema, you will be required to not have a comma. So if you have that by mistake, it won't work and it will throw an error. So make sure to remove that. Anywhere in a block, if you have, suppose you have it ending here, you can't put a comma here. You will need to remove it because the block ends there. So yeah, there's that. So now let's talk about all this. Okay. So the schema, as you would see here, that it is being loaded from the WordPress site. You can skip this, but if you have this added, this will automatically make the editor aware of the settings available here, and then it will automatically output them for you. Now that, for example, sorry, that was my iPhone. Anyways, so if you were to now take a look at the styles key, it will be already aware the kind of options there are available, such as you can see that here, you'll see that spacing is a valid key here. So it already knew that when I tried to add these so when I tried to add a key, it automatically showed me with that keyword what all options do I have, right? So I can completely skip that. And I think if you were to go to that, this URL will be able to see all the things that are available. Like you can see here, all the things that you can customize are available here, and the kind of data it takes, it is also mentioned here. So I will link this down in the video descriptions. You're gonna check that out. And yeah, so this is a very good way to start your theme.json file. If you are unaware, you come here, you take a look at each of the parameters we have available in theme.json, and then add the settings accordingly, right? But I think having that added in this schema parameter is a much better way. And then you can take a look at the theme.json theme developer handbook, right? So let's take a look at settings. We have color values. Let's take a look at settings first, and then we'll go to styles. We have settings. Now let's take a look at settings. The appearance tool is set to true. So what that does is appearance tool, right? It is not mentioned here, I think. Appearance tools. Yeah, it is mentioned here. Where with the enabling and disabling settings. Yeah, here it is. Enabling and disabling settings. So appearance tools, in the appearance tools, if you were to set it to true, for example, what this will do is, you can go to the site editor. What this will do is basically enable the layout controls for your site editor. So you will have these dimensions, and then the padding and the block spacing. I think there are a few other things. No, that's it. Yeah, so you can customize all this when you were to enable appearance tools. But if you were to set it to false, that will only be limited to the sizes set here, I think. Yeah, if you were to, let's refresh this, and then let's go to our okay, yeah. So it basically still gives us the content and the dimensions for the content and the wide width with sizes, but it doesn't give us the padding and the site padding and block spacing, etc. So that is that. So let's keep it to true. And then you can see here the layout dimensions here. The content size and the white size, you can set it here. Whatever we set here will be applied to the layout blocks, such as groups, rows, and columns. So imagine you want to say, you want to have a content size of 768 pixels. Let's do that. And then if you were to go to our header now, let me just, so this is what I was talking about. It sometimes it just doesn't work when you were to tap somewhere, and you would expect that it to work. I know that it's a hassle. It's not gonna get easily fixed, but I think I am hopeful that in the near future this will be fixed. But for now, what you can do is use this list view to select any block. Imagine this as your developer tool. So yeah, there's that. Inspector. This works like very much like an inspector, browser inspector. So we have this group, and then now if you were to say use inner content content width, I think it is also set to wide width. Yeah, it's set to full width. Now if you were to set it to none, it would take the content width which we just set at the group, because it is set to have the inner block set to content width. So the inner block is row, so that will take the content width. But then you can also set the row to wide and full width. So the full width being no width allowed. So basically no width set. So yeah, I know it's a bit complex as of now, but yeah, you'll get used to it once you try these blocks. So let's save that, and then let's take a look at the front end. Now we go to take a look. As you can see, it is set to the content width which we just created in Theme.json. The spacing units are also available here to set. Whatever spacing unit you set, that will only be shown in the block editor for each blocks. Such as, let's go to the group block, the very parent block, and then take a look. So we have padding. We can set it manually here. Now you'll see that padding. Now you can say padding 20 px. Now it applies at all the sites of our header group. But you can also say it to set to percentage or VM, VW, VH. So as you can see, you can imagine all sorts of stuff, but only the units you set from here, right? And that is spacing for you. I think there's much more than just units here in spacing. As you can see here, let's go to the spacing section, and you can see this padding, there's margin. You can set everything like which we just did, this separately in here. But then you think this is a separate block. How can you set it in the settings for each block? That is where settings for blocks comes in. So in order to take a look into a theme.json, you will also have blocks. Suppose there should be one. Styles theme.json. Okay, you can just say basically blocks and then have it set to that specific style. So you see blocks per block. If you were to take a look at here, settings defined on a per block basis. So imagine all the tools that you have available per block. Let's say that we have a group block and we have all the settings here, such as typography. We have font family, appearance, line height, letter spacing, decoration, letter case, and dimensions. Everything, all that is can be customized and set in the settings. But the customization part goes in the styles section, and the basically the setting, the sizes or whatever, maybe you want to limit it to a specific %.px units, you can set that in this the blocks. So let's say core and group. Let's set one for the group tab. If you were to say spacing units, I hope that it works, but I would expect it to just have these settings I want to have in spacing. So let's say we just want to have %rem, VTH and VW, right? Let's refresh and go to our group block. And then if you were to take a look here, you can see here in the content and the wide width, the inputs, we only have %rem, VW and VH. So you see that this is what I'm talking about. And then in the styles, you can set what the input will have, the size. So let's set blocks, and then let's say core group. Now if you were to say spacing, we can set here, I think padding let's do layout. Actually, let's do layout and theme. And you can just say content width or something. Let's take a look. Now this will be really helpful. Core, group. It's a bit time consuming, but then you would understand this is the basic flow of developing the new block themes. As you'd expect, the classic themes weren't also very easy. You would have to search around and mess around with it. So sorry, just talk myself. So yeah. Okay. Let's get in here, and I think that I'll need to check out how to set it at per block. The layout sizes, I don't that is available here, but yeah, let's set what is available already here. So we have spacing. Let's go to spacing, and then we have padding. Let's take a look at padding first. We have anything set there or what? So we don't have any padding set here. Let's set it manually. Let's set top to have maybe 100%, because as you can see, it's only set to percent right now. I think you can just set percent here and it will take it, or let's check that out. Let's try that out. And again, see, that's how an error looks like. Oh, it's not an error. So it did actually take that. And I'm going to go in padding. You can see. So one thing that is that should be mentioned here, that when you set something in the styles here in theme.json, that won't be visible in the site editor. So if you were to go in the padding, you won't see that here, but it is being applied, and that is by default. So that's one thing to note. And let's say we want to apply something else. Let's say we want to apply to margin, but we can, you already know how to apply that. Let's not waste further time on this, and let's go to some other thing, right?